The world will never hand you greatness. It does not wake up wondering how to make you rich, how to deliver your dream, how to rescue you from mediocrity. The world owes you nothing, and that's your greatest weapon. Because the moment you understand that no one is coming, you stop waiting, you start building, you stop wishing, you start working. You stop blaming, you start becoming. Success is not the result of luck, or fate, or alignment of stars. It is forced. It is forged in fire. It is the byproduct of a soul unwilling to bow, a spirit that chooses to grind through the storm, a mind that refuses to live one more day on its knees. If you want to be successful, you don't wait for motivation. You command yourself, you summon the war within, you discipline your doubt, and you rise. The strongest force in the human experience is not talent, it's not beauty, it's not brilliance, it's resolve. You have to want it so bad that your desire burns hotter than your fear. You have to cultivate a vision that's louder than your excuses. And you must live in a way where failure feels foreign, because every fiber of your being is pulling toward the person you must become. That version of you already exists. You just haven't beaten enough weakness out of yourself to earn it. Understand this. Every day you are planting, whether you know it or not. Every thought you water, every word you speak, every habit you reinforce, you are planting seeds. And your future will not be a mystery. It will be a harvest. The question is, will it be a harvest of greatness or of regret? Your mindset is the soil. It determines what can grow and what dies. If your mind is full of weeds, bitterness, self-pity, laziness, envy, don't expect a garden of success. Clean the ground. Rip out what poisons your future. This is not about thinking positive. This is about thinking powerful. This is about refusing to let your mind become a playground for your limitations. You must see yourself, not as you are, but as you could be, and then treat that vision like a sacred promise. Most people treat their goals like wishes. It would be nice if, no. Your goals are non-negotiable. Your goals are war declarations against who you used to be. Your goals are the ropes you use to pull your future into the now, but you must tie them to action. Belief is the engine. Without it, no amount of fuel will take you far. You have to believe that your life matters, that your voice has weight, that your potential is real, not because someone else told you, but because you've decided to stop betraying yourself. You've decided that you are no longer available for mediocrity. You've decided that being average is not an option on your list. Clarity cuts through the noise. You cannot fight like a warrior with a foggy mind. You must know what you want clearly, precisely. Not vague hopes, concrete visions. Who are you becoming? What do you stand for? What do you demand from yourself? The clearer the target, the deadlier the aim. Vision is your compass in the dark. When pain hits, and it will, your vision must be bright enough to blind the suffering. You must see your success before anyone else does. You must walk like it, speak like it, live like it long before it's visible to the world. Because that's how you bring it into existence. Not by waiting, by embodying, by becoming. Purpose is the fire under your feet. If you don't know why you're doing it, you will stop when it gets hard. And it will get hard. So tie your efforts to something greater than comfort. Tie your habits to something higher than applause. Whether it's your family, your legacy, your divine calling, make your purpose a non-negotiable. Burn your fallback plans. Success is not a backup option. It's the only route. Discipline is love in action. It's not punishment. It's self-respect. It's waking up early when you want to sleep, showing up when you want to quit, speaking truth when it would be easier to lie to yourself. Discipline is choosing your future over your feelings. It is the sword that cuts off distraction, the shield that blocks the storm, the hammer that builds empires. Action is the great separator. Everyone wants success. Few are willing to sweat for it. Most people worship comfort like a god, but nothing great is born in comfort. Action is how you vote for your future. Every rep, every call, every hour spent getting sharper, stronger, smarter, it's a vote. And your life is the total of the votes you cast daily. You don't attract success. You earn it. Gratitude isn't passive, it's power. It's fuel. It's waking up and saying, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It keeps your heart clean when you're rising. Because pride poisons progress. But a grateful warrior stays humble, hungry, and human. Adaptability is your edge. Life won't ask your permission before it changes. So don't just build strength, build flexibility. Be like water, able to crash, able to flow, able to change shape without losing your force. The ones who survive are not the strongest. They are the most adaptable. Learn to pivot with power, to evolve with grace, to shift without shattering. Resilience is your armor. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Circumstances will try to break you. But if your inner world is strong, nothing can conquer you. Every setback becomes setup. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every delay becomes preparation. You must become like iron refined by flame, not destroyed by it. Learning is how you multiply time. The more you know, the faster you grow. Read more, listen better, ask deeper questions. Success is not just about effort. It's about intelligence applied. And ignorance is a choice in the age of access. So choose to feed your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And when the nights are long, when the results are slow, when your friends don't understand you, when the old version of you begs to come back, don't break. You're not doing this for applause. You're not doing this for them. You're doing this because the highest version of you is watching, because your future is on the line, because your destiny is too great to be denied by weakness. Success is not something you fall into. It is something you force. You mold it with your hours. You carve it with your habits. You hammer it with your choices. You chisel it with your discipline. You polish it with your character. And one day, the world will say you're lucky. But you'll know the truth. You were relentless. You didn't wait. You didn't hope. You commanded your life. And now, you own it. Because once you own it, truly own your life, your time, your thoughts, your energy, nothing can enslave you again. Not fear, not doubt, not past failure, not opinions, not even pain. Because pain has become your teacher. Failure, your blueprint. Doubt, your fuel. And every scar you carry is now a badge of honor, proof that you refuse to quit when most would have. And it is here, in this space of self-possession, that greatness is no longer some far-off fantasy. It's not a dream, it's not a wish. It's who you are. It's in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you move through every room like you belong, not because you're arrogant, but because you built yourself brick by brick. Do you understand the power of that? To build yourself, to force the hand of life, to give you what you've earned, to no longer wait for someone to open a door, but to become the door, to stop knocking and start breaking through. Because people may pity your pain, but no one can deny your power. And power, real power, is built in silence, when nobody's watching, when it's just you and the grind, when the only audience is your future self whispering, don't stop, keep going, I'm waiting for you. You must become addicted to progress, not perfection progress. That 1% better, that extra call, that final set, that early rise, that hard conversation, that one more page read before sleep. It's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do every single day when nobody claps for you. That's where champions are made. Because here's the truth, no one wants to say out loud, most people will never make it. Not because they can't, but because they won't. They won't sacrifice, they won't stretch. They won't face themselves in the mirror. They won't look their excuses in the eyes and say, not today. But you didn't come this far to be most people. You didn't suffer what you suffered, bleed what you bled, just to settle. Your struggle must mean something. Your nights must pay off. Your scars must build something that matters. And if you're tired of waiting, good. That's the beginning of power. Tired of procrastinating? Tired of playing small? Tired of watching others live the life you know you could have? Tired of letting fear write the script of your story? Then move. Push. Burn the excuses. You do not need more time. You need more intensity. You do not need more knowledge. You need more execution. You do not need another plan. You need to follow through on the one you already have. Because everything you want is already in reach if you would just stop negotiating with your lesser self. Stop bargaining with laziness. Stop consulting fear. And stop giving average the microphone. You were not made for average. You were not born to blend in. You were not put here to tiptoe through life, hoping you make it safely to death. You were born to create, to conquer, to force the extraordinary out of the ordinary, to rise above your past, to take control of your name, your destiny, your legacy. And the moment you decide that who you must become is non-negotiable, your life will bend to your will. Because the universe does not resist the man or woman who refuses to fold. The universe bows to conviction. It yields to intensity. It responds to action, but only when you give it all. Half-hearted effort earns you a half-built life. But full-force commitment, that's how you tear down mountains. That's how you open doors no one else sees. That's how you leave your name carved into eternity. Not because you were lucky, but because you were relentless. Because when it was hard, you didn't stop. Because when it got dark, you lit the fire. Because when it hurt, you roared through the pain. You forced yourself to be successful. And now, nothing can stop you. Now you walk differently, not because of arrogance, but because your soul is anchored. Your spine straightens not with pride, but with purpose. Your eyes no longer dart around for approval. They stare forward, locked in, because you already know who you are, and more importantly, who you're becoming. And let me tell you something. Becoming is louder than arriving, because while others are chasing moments, trophies, status, you're chasing mastery. You're addicted to evolution. You crave the process. You are no longer impressed by what's shiny. You are obsessed with what's real. And what's real? Real is the quiet fire that never goes out even when the spotlight does. Real is the discipline to do it right when no one's watching. Real is keeping your word to yourself. Success isn't just money in your account. It's honor in your bones. It's trust in your reflection. It's the peace that comes from knowing you didn't flinch, you didn't fold, and you didn't let the old you win. Because the old you will call every day. It will whisper comfort like a lullaby. Let's take it easy today. Just this once. You deserve a break. But comfort is a liar. It lures you in with soft words and kills your future in silence. Success doesn't live in comfort, it lives in conflict. And not conflict with the world, but conflict within. That daily war between the version of you that wants to coast and the version of you that was born to climb. You have to choose every day to betray the weaker voice. That's the voice that keeps your dreams in a cage. But freedom is earned through war. And war isn't loud, not always. Sometimes war looks like showing up to the gym when your body aches. Sometimes it's saying no when your old habits scream yes. Sometimes it's choosing discipline over dopamine. It's not pretty. It's not Instagrammable, but it's real. And that's where the winners are built. In that quiet, ruthless consistency, because you've learned the secret. If you want to live a rare life, you must do rare things. You must become someone rare. You must say yes when others say no. You must go deep when others stay surface. You must suffer on purpose because greatness is forged through voluntary difficulty. You don't stumble into excellence. You march into it. You bleed into it. You build it with every small decision no one else sees. That's the truth. That's how you force yourself to be successful. You stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop dating your potential and you marry it. You stop admiring other people's lives and you build your own masterpiece. You stop saying someday and declare today. You stop saying I'll try and start saying I will. Because when you shift your language, You shift your reality. You shift your identity. And once identity changes, behavior follows. You're not forcing success because you hate yourself. You're forcing it because you finally love yourself enough not to abandon your destiny. You're not punishing yourself. You're preparing yourself. And when you live like that, when you move like that, when you breathe that fire into everything you do, the world cannot ignore you. It has no choice but to respond, because the world is built by the unreasonable, the obsessed, the undistracted, the ones who are too focused to fold, too hungry to stop, too faithful to fail. That's who you are now. You're not waiting. You're not hoping. You're not watching others live the life. You're forcing it. Every step, every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every decision, every second, you are forcing your way into the life you know is yours. Because success is not an invitation. It's a conquest. And when you've forced yourself through the fire, when the sweat is dry and the crowd is gone and there's nothing left but silence and self, that's when it hits you. This is what freedom feels like. Freedom from regret. Freedom from wasted potential. Freedom from needing permission to live fully. You realize the chains were never out there. They were in your own mind. They were in every excuse, every delay, every moment you allowed fear to set your limits. But you broke them because you were willing to suffer now rather than suffer forever. You were willing to carry the weight of greatness when everyone else was putting it down. That's what separates the few. Not gifts, not privilege, not circumstance, but the raw, unshakable decision to rise when everything in you says rest. And when you rise over and over again, you create something stronger than momentum. You create identity. You don't just do hard things anymore. You are someone who does hard things. You don't just finish what you start. You are someone who never quits. And you don't just dream anymore, you expect results. Because you've proven to yourself that when it's time to show up, you don't flinch. That's power. Not loud, boastful power, but quiet, unbreakable power. The kind that walks into every room with presence. The kind that shakes hands with destiny, not desperation. The kind that no storm can steal. Because you didn't rent success, you earned it. You owned the pain. You owned the process. You owned the price. And now, you own the power. So what now? Now, you multiply. Because the mission isn't over once you win. It begins. Now, it's your duty to light the path for others, not with words, but with the way you live. Now it's your responsibility to carry the torch of transformation, because someone is watching you the way you once watched others. Someone is searching for proof that it's possible. Be that proof. Be the evidence that growth is real. Be the voice that speaks life when others have only heard silence. Be the presence that demands others. Rise not with pressure, but with possibility. You are not here just to succeed. You are here to awaken, to lift, to lead. Because true success is not what you gain, it's what you give back after you've built yourself. You've climbed. You've conquered. Now you must contribute. You must become a living blueprint for what happens when a human being refuses to live below their potential. Because you are no longer hoping for success. You are the embodiment of it. And the world will feel that. The room changes when you walk in because you've changed. You bring gravity. You bring clarity. You bring truth. And not just any truth-earned truth. The kind of truth that only comes when you've gone all in on yourself. So don't slow down now. Don't settle now. Don't apologize for the fire in your soul. You forced yourself to be successful not for the applause, not for the status, but because it was the only way to finally feel free. And now that you are, make that freedom count. Make it echo. Make it ripple through every life you touch. Let the way you live be the spark that lights 1,000 flames. Because this is the moment. Not someday. Not when it's perfect. Not when you feel ready. Now. Right now. This breath. This hour. This day. It's your time, and you are done waiting. You are done wishing. You are done explaining. From this moment forward, your life is not a question. It's a statement, a declaration, a thunderclap of certainty that says, I am the storm. I am the force. I am the future. I am successful because I refuse to be anything less. And when you've forced yourself through the fire, when the sweat is dry and the crowd is gone and there's nothing left but silence and self, that's when it hits you. This is what freedom feels like. Freedom from regret. Freedom from wasted potential. Freedom from needing permission to live fully. You realize the chains were never out there. They were in your own mind. They were in every excuse, every delay, every moment you allowed fear to set your limits. But you broke them because you were willing to suffer now rather than suffer forever. You were willing to carry the weight of greatness when everyone else was putting it down. That's what separates the few. Not gifts, not privilege, not circumstance, but the raw, unshakable decision to rise when everything in you says rest. And when you rise over and over again, you create something stronger than momentum. You create identity. You don't just do hard things anymore. You are someone who does hard things. You don't just finish what you start. You are someone who never quits. And you don't just dream anymore. You expect results. Because you've proven to yourself that when it's time to show up, you don't flinch. That's power. Not loud, boastful power, but quiet, unbreakable power. The kind that walks into every room with presence. The kind that shakes hands with destiny, not desperation. The kind that no storm can steal. Because you didn't rent success, you earned it. You owned the pain. You owned the process. You owned the price. And now, you own the power. So what now? Now, you multiply. Because the mission isn't over once you win. It begins. Now it's your duty to light the path for others, not with words, but with the way you live. Now, it's your responsibility to carry the torch of transformation because someone is watching you the way you once watched others. Someone is searching for proof that it's possible. Be that proof. Be the evidence that growth is real. Be the voice that speaks life when others have only heard silence. Be the presence that demands others. Rise not with pressure, but with possibility. You are not here just to succeed. You are here to awaken, to lift, to lead. Because true success is not what you gain. It's what you give back after you've built yourself. You've climbed. You've conquered. Now you must contribute. You must become a living blueprint for what happens when a human being refuses to live below their potential. Because you are no longer hoping for success. You are the embodiment of it. And the world will feel that. The room changes when you walk in because you've changed. You bring gravity. You bring clarity. You bring truth. And not just any truth-earned truth. The kind of truth that only comes when you've gone all in on yourself. So don't slow down now. Don't settle now. Don't apologize for the fire in your soul. You forced yourself to be successful, not for the applause, not for the status, but because it was the only way to finally feel free. And now that you are, make that freedom count. Make it echo. Make it ripple through every life you touch. Let the way you live be the spark that lights 1,000 flames. Because this is the moment. Not someday. Not when it's perfect. Not when you feel ready. Now. Right now. This breath. This hour. This day. It's your time. And you are done waiting. You are done wishing. You are done explaining. From this moment forward, your life is not a question. It's a statement, a declaration, a thunderclap of certainty that says, I am the storm. I am the force. I am the future. I am successful because I refuse to be anything less. And when the dust of your old self settles, when the noise fades, when the world begins to notice, not because you asked it to, but because it couldn't ignore you any longer, you will stand in a stillness most never know. The stillness of alignment. The stillness of a soul that finally walks in the rhythm of its own greatness. No more pretending. No more shrinking. No more shrinking for people who refuse to grow. You are no longer a student of your past. You are a professor of perseverance. You don't recite pain, you teach power. Because what you've done, what you've built, what you've become is rare. You are rare. You are what happens when a human being chooses discipline over dopamine, purpose over popularity, depth over distraction. You are what happens when the soul awakens from slumber, when the bones begin to remember who they were always meant to be. Because success isn't something you chase, it's what you release when all that is false falls away. And what's left? The real, the raw, the rooted, the unshakable, the one who doesn't just speak about dreams but bleeds for them, the one who doesn't just visualize but materializes, the one who doesn't wait for the world to change because they've already changed themselves. You see, the world bends for those who bend themselves first. The world moves for those who move themselves first. It doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to wills. So ask yourself now, who are you willing to become? How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to shed? Because you can't carry old habits into a new destiny. You can't drag your comfort into your calling. You can't serve fear and expect freedom. You must choose every day, every hour, every moment. And when you do, when you wake up with that fire in your chest, when you walk like your dreams are already real, when you live as if the version of you that inspires generations is already breathing through your lungs, everything changes. Doors open, paths appear, energy flows. Because you stopped asking for permission. You commanded the moment. You took the reins. You stepped into the rarest frequency of all full personal power. And nothing rivals that. Not fame, not fortune, not comfort. Because power isn't something others give you. It's something you unleash. And you're no longer afraid of what's inside. You've faced it. You've forged it. You've forced it into form. Now, your only job is to keep going. Relentlessly. Ruthlessly. With grace, but with grit. With intensity, but with integrity. With clarity, with character, with courage. Because there's still more inside you. There's still more levels. More to build. More to become. You're not done. Not even close. You were never after a finish line. You were after becoming eternal. And now you're just getting started. And this is where most stop. They think success is a destination, a number in a bank account, a title on a door, a body in a mirror, a moment of applause. But you've seen beyond that illusion. You understand that success is not a place, it's a pace, a rhythm, a frequency, a standard you refuse to lower, even when no one's watching, especially when no one's watching. Because you no longer perform for the world, you perform for the future. You don't move to impress. You move to express the greatness that has been buried too long beneath years of small thinking, broken promises, and delayed dreams. But not anymore. The drought is over. The famine is finished. The warrior in you has returned, not with rage, but with responsibility. And when you carry that kind of weight, when you take ownership of everything you are and everything you're not, you become unstoppable. Because now, success isn't something you hope to achieve. It's your default setting. Excellence isn't a stretch, it's a standard. Discipline isn't a chore, it's your culture. And no matter what the world throws at you, distractions, doubts, delays, you remain rooted. Because the tree that has survived storms grows a trunk of steel and roots that drink from the underground rivers of resilience. And that's what you are now. Rooted, unshaken, whole. You've stopped looking for motivation. You've become your own source. You've stopped needing accountability. You've become responsible. You've stopped chasing potential. You've become it. So when people ask, how did you do it? Well, when they ask, what's the secret? When they beg for shortcuts, hacks, and hacks to avoid the work, You'll tell them the truth they don't want to hear. I forced myself. I got up when I didn't want to. I stayed when I wanted to quit. I trained when no one clapped. I acted before I felt ready. I chose growth when comfort begged me to stay. And now I'm not just successful, I'm unbreakable. And that is the highest form of wealth. To know that no matter what happens out there, you have mastery in here. Mastery over your time, your emotions, your habits, your mind. And with that mastery, you no longer fear the future. You forge it. So go. Build the life that leaves generations in awe. Speak words that become frameworks for others to stand on. Live so fully, so fiercely, so faithfully to your purpose that the world cannot remain the same after you, because you didn't wait for success. You didn't wish for it. You didn't stumble into it. You forced it. And now you are living proof of what's possible when nothing, not even yourself, is allowed to stand in your way. You are the proof that pain can be power, that wounds can be wisdom, that failure is not fatal, only unfinished. You are what happens when a human being decides they are not their past, not their mistakes, not their excuses, not their old name. You are what happens when someone decides that destiny is not something to inherit, it's something to craft. You built this with early mornings and late nights, with tears swallowed in silence, with decisions no one applauded but changed everything, with sacrifices no one saw but heaven recorded. You bled for this breakthrough. You buried comfort to birth your calling. And now you breathe differently because something has shifted inside you. There is no going back to average, no retreat into safety, no apology for the fire that burns through your bones. You are not for everyone, and that's your power. You weren't born to be understood by the masses. You were born to move them. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to wake people up. But you can't wake others if you're still asleep in your own story. And now you're not. You've risen. You've shaken off the chains of doubt and delay. You've stood up when it would have been easier to stay small. And you've proven not to them, but to you, that there is nothing more powerful than a soul in alignment with its mission. Nothing. Not fear. Not failure. Not fatigue. Not time. Not setbacks. Because purpose is stronger than pain. And when a man or woman moves from purpose, they become untouchable. So move. Not from pressure, but from conviction. Not from fear of missing out, but from faith in what's coming. Not to prove others wrong, but to prove to yourself that you are worthy of every dream that keeps you awake at night. Because those dreams, they're not random. They're reminders. Reminders of who you are, of what you carry, of what you're here to give the world before you leave it. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is your one shot, your one life. And you don't get to the end and wish you had forced yourself a little more. You don't get to rewind the clock and try again. So what will you do? Will you let another day pass bowing to the small voice that says not yet? Or will you rise like the warrior you are and say now? Now is my time. Now is my turn. Now is the moment everything changes. Because I'm done hesitating, done waiting, done doubting. From this second forward, I force the future into my hands. I shape it. I mold it. I command it because I was never meant to just survive. I was born to build, then build, not with hesitation, but with heat, not with timid steps, but with thunder in your stride. You've waited long enough. You've watched others live the life. You've stood on the edge of your own power, whispering promises, hoping the world would give you a sign. But hear me now, you are the sign. You are the signal that the time has come. You are the green light. You are the permission. You are the voice you've been waiting for. So build boldly, build with force, build with every lesson learned from pain, every ounce of strength you forged in silence. Build with the memory of every no you turned into fuel. Build with the fire of someone who is not just chasing success, but commanding it. because you are no longer a product of your environment. You are the architect of it. You design the day. You decide the standard. You define what's possible. And if you must be relentless, so be it. If it means long nights and lonely work, so be it. If it means losing people who can't see your vision, so be it. Because you're not building a life that's easy. You're building a life that's legendary. You are here for more than likes. You are here for more than status. You are here to create a ripple in time, a wake that shakes generations. And that kind of life, it doesn't arrive politely. It must be taken, claimed, demanded, and yes, forced. That's the paradox of greatness. It comes to those who no longer wait, who no longer beg, who no longer wonder what if. It comes to those who command reality, who look at mountains and move them, who look at obstacles and outrun them, who look at time and say, I will not waste another second waiting for someone to choose me. I choose myself. And when you do that, when you fully choose yourself, without hesitation, without apology, the world reorganizes itself around your certainty. People will feel it. Doors will open, not because they were locked, but because you finally knocked like you meant it. And when you walk through, walk like you belong, because you do. You do because you've paid the price. You do because you've gone to war with the old you and won. You do because you stopped asking for comfort and started asking for capacity. And now you're not just a person on a mission. You are the mission. You are the message. You are what it looks like when a soul decides to stop playing small and start rebuilding the world through the force of a single, powerful, disciplined, focused, relentless life. You don't hope anymore. You execute. You don't wish anymore. You embody. You don't wait anymore. You walk. And when they ask you how, tell them the truth. Tell them what most are too afraid to say. I forced myself, and it was the greatest decision I ever made. You already know what needs to be done. You already feel the fire flickering in your gut. You already hear the whisper at night. There is more inside you. This isn't a matter of knowledge. It's not a matter of intelligence. It's not about waiting for one more podcast, one more book, one more sign. This is about execution. This is about courage. This is about whether you will live another day trapped in delay or break free and become what you were born to be. Because your destiny doesn't arrive by invitation. It arrives when you stand up, look your fear in the face and declare, enough. Enough waiting. Enough wondering. Enough wasting time asking for permission to be powerful. The clock is ticking, and here is the brutal truth. Most people will die with their greatness buried under comfort. Not because they lacked opportunity, but because they refused to move. They convinced themselves they had time. They told themselves tomorrow would be better. They clung to safety like it was salvation, never realizing it was a slow death in disguise. But you feel the urgency. You're done pretending that your ideas can wait. You're done putting off the conversations you need to have. You're done shrinking to fit the fears of people who've already given up on their own potential. You feel it in your chest, don't you? The tension between who you are and who you could be. The friction between where you stand and where you know you're meant to go. That tension is not anxiety. It's potential, pounding on the walls of your comfort zone. And it's not going to stop. It will keep whispering, keep pushing, keep stirring, until either you act or it dies inside you. And nothing is more tragic than a soul that silences itself out of convenience. You weren't born to repeat the same cycle year after year. You weren't built for routine mediocrity. You weren't designed to survive. You were built to build, to break through, to initiate movements, to speak, create, lead, ignite, heal, influence. But nothing happens until you act. The people who change their lives are not the ones with the most talent. They're the ones who finally decide that now is the time. Not when it's perfect. Not when they feel ready. Not when the critics stop. Now. Because now is all you ever had. Now is where momentum lives. Now is the only doorway to a future that looks different from your past. And here's what they won't tell you. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of visibility. You're afraid of being seen trying. You're afraid of giving your best and watching someone not clap. But the applause was never the goal. The alignment is. Living in a way that feels like truth. Acting on the whisper before it turns into a scream. Moving with urgency, not because you're scared, but because you're called. And if you're called, then comfort is the enemy. Because comfort is what happens when your dreams die of dehydration. When your spirit grows soft under the weight of delayed decisions. But if you want a life that breathes fire, you must become the kind of person who acts, decides, moves, builds before it's guaranteed, leaps before the net appears, speaks before they're celebrated, leads before they feel like a leader. And in doing so, you shift time itself. You stretch what's possible. You collapse timelines. You bend reality to match your vision because you refuse to wait. You made a choice. You declared with your energy, with your calendar, with your habits, with your voice, the time to act is now. Because the moment you act truly, unapologetically, without dragging your fears behind you, the world takes shape differently. You start to see things through the lens of ownership, not obstacles. You start to wake up with direction instead of distraction. You stop waiting for energy because action becomes your energy. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop explaining your inaction. You stop calling it patience when it's really paralysis. And that's the real tragedy. Most people think they're being strategic when they're really just scared, afraid of rejection, afraid of judgment, afraid of looking foolish. But leadership, real leadership, is the willingness to look foolish in pursuit of something meaningful. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail publicly. You're going to outgrow the people who want you to stay small. Good. That's the tax you pay for progress. That's the toll at the gate of growth. You don't get to level up for free. But here's the reward. The more you act, the less you fear failure. The more you move, the less you need motivation. The more you stretch, the more your capacity explodes. You don't become fearless. You just get so familiar with fear that it loses its power. You walk beside it now. You don't run from it. You don't beg it to go away. You look it in the eye and say, you don't drive this life. I do. That shift changes everything because now your habits are different. Your posture is different. Your voice doesn't shake when you speak because you've earned the right to believe in your direction, not because it's perfect, but because you started, and most people never start. They keep sharpening the pencil and never write the sentence. They keep researching and never launch. They keep dreaming and never wake up and move. But not you, not anymore, because now you know all your power lives in the present moment. All your potential is waiting on the other side of one committed action. And once you act, everything begins to accelerate. People start to notice, not because you shouted, but because your energy shifted. You walk in with a different frequency. You lead with quiet certainty. You no longer talk about change. You are change. That kind of momentum can't be faked. It can't be bought. It can't be taught in a course. It can only be earned by those who refuse to delay their destiny. So here it is, the choice. Will you keep repeating the patterns of hesitation? Or will you rise and start rewriting your life in real time? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now is the only moment that belongs to you. Now is where your power lives. Now is the birthplace of everything you say you want. So take it. Own it. Step into it. The time to act is now. And it will never be this clear again. Then stand tall because this is the moment where everything ignites. This is where you stop chasing inspiration and become it. Where you stop asking the world to change and command it with your example. Because the time to act is not just now, it's right now. Before the doubt returns. Before the distractions pull you under. before the noise creeps in and drowns your fire. Act now, because the version of you you're becoming doesn't live in later. They live in decisions made in the fire of now. Not someday. Not when it's easier. Not after you feel ready. Now, because every second you hesitate is a second you trade away the life you say you want. Every pause becomes a pattern. Every delay becomes a habit. And before you know it, the life you were born to live becomes just a memory of what could have been. But not for you. Not here. Not today. Today, you break the cycle. Today, you interrupt the story. Today, you stop telling yourself why it won't work and start working like it must. You stop overanalyzing. You stop explaining. You stop doubting your instinct, your power, your path, and you move. You act. You initiate. Because leaders don't wait. Champions don't ask for consensus. Creators don't wait to be discovered. They act until they're undeniable. So go build it. Go write it. Go say it. Go start it. Go lead it. Go launch it. Go live it. Whatever it is, move toward it like your life depends on it. Because it does. The life you could have had, the person you were meant to be, they're waiting on you to act. And the clock won't stop ticking. So, stop waiting for clarity and create it through commitment. Stop waiting for momentum and make it with movement. Stop waiting for the path to be paved and walk until you leave a trail. And when it gets hard, good. That's the price. That's the signal. That's the proof you're on the path. This is what transformation looks like. Ugly, awkward, lonely, powerful. Because nothing legendary is born in comfort. It's born in moments like this where you look at your life and say, I will no longer delay my destiny. You won't be perfect. You won't get it right every time. But you will be in motion. You will be aligned. You will be powerful. And in that power, you will remember who you've always been. A builder, a leader, a warrior, a vessel of fire, a mover of mountains, a force that refuses to fold. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need more permission. You need more courage. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need to act like you already do. And if you can carry that energy, that decision, that intensity, that non-negotiable action, the world will have no choice but to move for you. Not because you hoped, because you acted. And you acted with conviction, with vision, with no way back. Because once you truly decide, there is no reverse gear. Only forward. Only fire. Only now. The time to act is not tomorrow. It is not when the stars align. It is not when fear leaves. It is not when they understand. It is now. It is now. It is now. Move. Build. Lead. Begin. Ignite. Because the time to act was always now.